with the whole like feeling the bike's agility, but just keep that to a minimum, right? Don't do it the entire time we're riding. Let's see. I'm gonna go over controls with you on this F900 real quick, and then we'll get out of here. So most of these bikes have key fob, so you're just gonna hit this ignition switch in the middle one time. Usually it's in front of or behind your handlebar. Who's on an R18? R18 riders? None? Okay, perfect. The rest of us will have a key. So once you hit that once, your screen will come to life. You'll notice two flashing yellow lights on the right side. Please disregard those. This bike's currently in neutral, but good habit is to have your clutch pulled in, kickstand up, press down on this red button, start right up, okay? Just above that, you'll find your mode button. Select the mode you want to try out, let off the throttle, get back on it, you'll be set. Heated grips is here. If your grips get hot, someone was playing with that button there. Horn is on the bottom left, turn signal's just above that. If they do not self-cancel, just push straight in, it'll cancel that arrow for you. Stay out of menus, please, guys. Red button with the white triangle is going to be our hazards. If we have to pull over for any reason, wait for anybody, we're going to hit our hazards, pull over. Whoever it is we're pulling over for, as you approach the group, please slow down, kind of control traffic so everyone can get out on the road in front of you. We'll keep going, all right? High beams are on the front here. If you need assistance or we need to pull over for any reason, that's your best way to get a hold of me. I'll see you back there flashing those lights over and over. But if you need to, honk your horn, wave your arms. If you guys see someone or hear someone doing those things, please start doing that yourself. Pass the message forward, okay? All right, let's look out for one another. Gear pattern on these bikes, 1 down, 5 up. Most of these bikes are equipped with Shift Assist Pro. The only bikes that do not have it are going to be the R18s, R9Ts, and the 310s, okay? The rest of us will be able to, as long as we're steady on the throttle, shift up through the gears without using the clutch. Off the throttle, shift down through the gears without using the clutch. Cool? Any questions? All right, I'm glad that's over with. I get a break for a couple days. All right, let's go, guys. Go ahead and get suited up. Watch for Brad to point you out, okay?
The BMW Motorrad, this is basically an experience where people get to check out bikes. They travel the country, I would say from June to November. There's one in Germany, of course, too, that they hold an event, but they travel around the country, and we're lucky enough to have in Ohio the BMW Motorrad come here near Middletown, Ohio. And I've taken advantage of this 2 years in a row, and it's a lot of fun. You get to check out any bike they have. I wish more manufacturers would do this. I've only found pretty most of them do. The problem is they don't come to Ohio. So if you want to experience like these demo days, be prepared to travel to get there. Like Suzuki's having one in a couple weeks, I believe, but it's in Georgetown, Ohio, or I'm sorry, Georgetown, Kentucky. So you do have to travel some to get there. Anyway, let's talk about the BMW R 1250 RS. Now, BMW, they pretty much call this a dynamic sports touring bike. Now, it's a little bit different than the bike I rode earlier in the other video, which was the M1000R. This one is heavier, it's got a beefier engine, and it has that boxer, the true boxer engine that BMW's known for, right? So, with the boxer engine, it's heavier and it lays horizontal, so it's heavier, but it's more balanced. You can actually, when you twist the throttle of a boxer engine, you can feel that twist, kind of like that bike will twist, because you got that RPM and that twist action going on with the boxer engine. So the BMW R 1250 RS has a bigger engine. Like I said, it's got 136 horsepower though versus the 205 for the M1000 that I rode earlier. So it's got less horsepower and less RPM. It's almost double. That M1000R has 13,750 RPM. So that's a true sports bike. That's why you get the difference, right? The top speed of this 1250 is about 124 miles an hour, where that monster I rode earlier, top speed around 178, right? So that's why they're different. You know, and even this bike has more power than the the M1000R, right? Which is 1,254 cc, but it was more felt regarding torque, not so much speed, if that makes sense. Now, there was a point during the initial run where I took off, I actually stalled out the bike, where you heard the beep, the bleep. That's because I didn't give enough torque, enough RPM for the torque to engage in the friction zone, because I was used to the M1000R, which had a very, very smooth clutch process because it revved higher. Well, when you get into a bike that doesn't have high as RPM, you got to make sure you twist that throttle enough to get those RPMs going to happily play in that friction zone so you don't stall out the bike. So I know exactly what I did wrong, but it's kind of embarrassing, but then again, everybody does it. You just have to get used to the bike. So my point is, don't be embarrassed about it, even though I said that term, because I think the gentleman in front of me did that on the prior run. So it's no big deal. You just have to get used to the bike, and then once or twice, you might stall it once or twice, but after that, you're good to go. Now, the 1250 is a heavier bike, maybe about 40 pounds heavier than the M1000R. This one weighs in at 478 pounds. And it doesn't feel as light and nimble because it's got that big horizontal boxer engine there on the, more towards the ground. So you can turn okay, but it's just not going to be as nimble as a sports bike. Now, the seat height was 32.3 inches. This has a lowering suspension option in it, which brought the seat down to 29.9. So that was perfect because I got about a 30-inch inseam. So that seat was perfect. I could put my feet both flat on the ground. That was awesome. I really wish more manufacturers either had a lowering suspension or some adjustable seat height, because there's a lot of people, including myself, that will never buy a bike because our short inseams, we just can't reach the ground where you have that balance, and you can't hold up a 500-pound bike very easily at a stop sign or a red light. So I wish more manufacturers would really consider incorporating, for the shorter folks out there like myself that has shorter inseams on the legs, just so they can get into more bikes. Now, the R1250 RS had different ride modes. They call them, Eco, Rain. There's an actual rain ride mode, and there's a road with hill start control. which is cool. So if you're coming to a red light or a stop sign that's on a really steep hill, that will allow you, prevent you, I should say, from rolling backwards when you try to get into the friction zone when you take off. So that's really cool. Of course, this model had the heated seats for the rider and passenger, and also heated grips. I rode the style called Triple Black, option 719 with the sport wheels, I believe. And it had the, I think the billet pack shadow, which is the billet, the top part that covers the engines that stick out. That was more of a black, so billet pack shadow, I believe that was called. So included with the premium package on this, I had heated grips, cruise control, tire pressure monitor, of course the ride modes, shift assist, which is cool, the suspension adjustment where you can lower that seat height, and a lot more. You'll have to visit the BMW website and comb through all the different standard options or accessories and stuff, because it has a lot. BMW does a good job where you can have tons of options on these things, and a lot of them come standard on more of the high-end equipment. Now this bike had the adjustable windscreen, and I put it in the higher position, and what I remember during the ride is I think it did a pretty nice job blocking the wind, because I don't remember any wind at all. So they, you know, the old saying goes, if you don't notice it, then it's doing its job. So that windscreen was a nice added touch to that. But keep in mind, this is a touring bike, so you want something to keep the wind off you if you're going long distance, cross country, weekend trips. Yeah, that windscreen is invaluable for that. MSRP on this bike starts around $15,995 and can quickly jump up to about $23,000 when you add all the options. My overall impressions were it was a heavier feel but more balanced because of the boxer engine. It had the torque was awesome. It had more torque, but it wasn't as quick, of course, as the M1000R. Not as nimble, you know. I felt the sitting position was a little more upright, of course, but that could have been in my head because they do have similar ergonomics on it, but I did feel that it was more of a touring style bike. I should say touring style with sport experience, right? Because it's got a big, powerful engine to it. So again, this would be a great bike for long trips, you know, weekend excursions, long commutes, anything that you're going to be, and you're really going to appreciate that balance and that heaviness and the wind protection and all the different ride modes. That's very cool that BMW puts those into this bike. Whereas the M1000R that I rode before this was more for thrills and pure adrenaline. It's a true sports bike, so it's going to have a different application. Both bikes I rode that day were awesome, don't get me wrong. And with those price tags, it's what I expect. Now, I actually enjoyed the M1000R more only because it was a short ride. Now, if I had to travel a very long distance or go across the country, I would definitely opt for something more of a touring bike like the R1250 RS, or even something more along the lines of their heritage bikes or true cruisers. You have to realize with the motorcycle what it's engineered to do and know what you're getting into before you buy any bike. Too many people buy on impulse, and then they later find out down the road that, oh, well, this is not very fun because this is not really comfortable when I commute to work. Well, that's because you didn't do your research, and I tell everybody that watches my channel, do your research, ride the bikes, go out there, sit on them. Even if you don't have your motorcycle endorsement, at least know what the bike's capable of doing and sit on it and get a feel for it. Because most bikes are gonna kind of ride similar, honestly, but it all depends on, again, the weight, what they're engineered to do, if it's a touring bike, sports bike, the lean, all kind of different things. So you really got to know what you want before you just go out and buy something. And that's why I like producing these videos, because I was the same way. Before I bought my Honda, I did a lot of research and I knew exactly what my application was going to be, which was just cruising around the neighborhoods, nothing long, no cross-country trips or tours. I wasn't going to do any cannonball runs or anything like that. Not that I might do it one day, but my excursions are local. They're just catting around the neighborhoods, and that's why I bought the bike that was designed to do that. And plus, when you research, it's going to make the buying experience a lot more enjoyable, because you're going to be more confident going in knowing that, hey, this is exactly the kind of bike I want, and you're going to be happy with it in the long run. So again, both bikes were cool. Both bikes were fun, just different applications, and that's why they design many different bikes and models and engine sizes, because everybody's different. So thanks again to the BMW crew. I appreciate you guys putting this on. We'll see you again next year. And if you have any questions, drop a line in the comments, drop a comment, drop a like, all that jazz, and then we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you.
Thanks for riding with us.
Thank you.
But it's the one.
Thank you.